So my name is D. Togba, and I'm going to be doing my career presentation about being an ambassador. This is my audience. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see, 6. Okay, so today for my presentation, I'm going to be telling you guys about how to become a U.S. ambassador, what are some of the requirements that you have to go fulfill, and also I'll tell you a little bit about the reason why I chose this career and why I want to be an ambassador. My first experience actually as an ambassador was when I was in high school. I was an ambassador for the ELCA. Basically, it's the Lutheran organization that is the umbrella of all the churches that are Lutheran in the U.S. So I was an ambassador for that. We went to Germany, and in Germany, we visited other churches, and it was basically a goodwill mission. Now, some of the things that I'm going to tell you guys about is basically, what is an ambassador? What do they do? Where do they do it? What are some of the unique things about being an ambassador? How are they hired? How are they trained, paid, and how is their career progressed over time? So for the first thing that I found that was really interesting was that you don't need any education to become a U.S. ambassador. One more requirement to become a U.S. ambassador is that you have to go to the Foreign Service Institute. And each country has their own institute that they train their own ambassadors. For the U.S., it's called the Foreign Service Institute. And at the Foreign Service Institute, you learn diplomatic protocol. Diplomatic protocol is just basically a set of rules that are developed from norms that you follow when you're interacting with people from other cultures. Like, for example, I'm not going to feed somebody pork that I know is from a Muslim culture. There are certain things that you just don't do, and basically that's what diplomatic protocol is. So you learn diplomatic protocol at the Foreign Service Institute, but also you learn different skills like how to detect situations that are dangerous, what to do if the embassy is under attack. Next thing that I'm going to tell you guys about is when you become an ambassador after you're done with your training and you get sent to an embassy, there are 10 strategic or key jobs in the embassy. One of them, the highest level, is ambassador, of course. But the second level is the person that's in charge. It's like the assistant ambassador, who's in charge of the embassy when the ambassador is away. And then there are ministers, counselors, assistant counselors. These are the core people. But in addition to the core people, outside of that, there are specialists. The Foreign Service calls them Foreign Service Specialists. And basically what they do is they specialize in like certain jobs. For example, IT. An IT specialist will be the person that sets up the computer systems and sets up communication. That's what an IT person would do. One very important task of the ambassador is to maintain good relations with the country that they're in. And how that ambassador does that is through different projects. So a project to spur economic development. So if you provide opportunities for that country to do that, it betters the relationship. But some of the things that can hinder that relationship would be, if you're two countries, for example, let's say China and the U.S. China and the U.S. have a very long history of bad relations because there was a point that those two countries didn't really have official diplomatic relations. And there was a period where the U.S. attacked China and actually occupied China. So stuff like that can make an ambassador's job more difficult because the people or the heads of state of that country will always remember what happened in the past, and they can always bring it up in present situations. For example, what's happening right now between Russia and the U.S. has an impact on what China is doing. Because China and the U.S., China and Russia used to have a better relationship. And so you see stuff like that playing out. Are there any questions so far of things that you guys or you ladies have thought about that I didn't cover yet? No? Okay, then I will tell you about how an ambassador gets hired and how they get paid? Well, it's very simple. The Foreign Service Institute, they have like career fairs that they go to or job fairs. That's where they do some of the recruiting. But they also do recruiting online. So if you go to the Foreign Service or the State Department's website, you'll find a lot of information there. And so when you decide you want to become an ambassador, the first thing you do is you take the test, the Foreign Service Officer test. That's one way to become an ambassador. You can take the test, you go to DC, if you pass the test, you go to DC, you do a written and an oral test. After that, then they will do your medical exam, and then they'll do a background check on you to figure out if you can get security clearance, because ambassadors have a lot of access to information, sensitive information. That's one way to become an ambassador. The other way to become an ambassador is you can raise money for the presidential candidate. So, for example, when Obama was running in 2008, your diplomatic term only lasts for as long as Obama's in office, because he's the one that sanctioned it. But even though Obama sanctioned it, you can still not be accepted for that position in two ways. One, Congress can say, no, this candidate is not fit to be an ambassador, which doesn't happen very often. The other way is the country that Obama sends you to can say, no, we don't want this person to be the ambassador. And so they can reject the recommendation, and then the country has to find another ambassador. When you get paid as an ambassador, get paid in whatever currency you posted in. And for ambassador, this is great, because if you're in Europe and you get paid in euros, you can use that currency conversion that helps you out. Usually ambassadors get paid about $90,000 to $120,000 a year. The working conditions is the last thing that I'm going to cover about ambassador, because it's the most important. The embassy is where it's basically your home away from home. It's your job to make sure the embassy is functioning and is working. And what you do in the embassy, because it's technically your country, it's technically little U.S. outside of U.S. And the U.S. government actually has 270 plus embassies around the world. And they have diplomatic relations with 180 countries. So this is information that I got from the State Department's website. So there are 270 little U.S. platted around the world. Like, just think about the magnitude of that when you add all that space together. That can be like little Britain, because Britain is not a very big country. So when you're working in the embassy, you get diplomatic immunity. So that pretty much means they can't arrest you for petty stuff, like parking your car somewhere wrong. Or if you go to jail, you can get out of diplomatic immunity. This actually happens all the time, where ambassadors get off on crimes because of diplomatic immunity. But there's a disadvantage to this. It's that the relationship between your two countries could go, bad. And in an embassy, the 10 strategic jobs that I talked about, those individuals are there to make sure that the embassy's running smoothly. But if it's not, there's protocol for how to, 1, destroy documents, 2, evacuate personnel, and 3, lock down the embassy and abandon it. So this is my presentation about how to become a U.S. ambassador, some of the career preparation that you do in the Foreign Service, and how you get paid. Thank you for listening.